Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about the Dow Jones News Fund internship program qualifying test that is a requirement of our program. I'm just going to dive right in. If you missed our information session, we did record that and that will be available on our website. So please check that out to learn more about the application, our programs, and the selection process. But today, we really want to focus on the test because that seems to be the part that people get the most nervous about and want to prepare for. So the qualifying test, you take it once, it's online, and it's a platform called HireVue. And after these couple of slides, I'm going to actually go into last year's test in HireVue and show you last year's test. I'm going to go through it one by one. But let me just tell you, I'll give you some of the tips up front. So the test is 8 sections. The first section is a video question. This is really like your one interview question you get. We want to meet you, get a sense of your personality, your passion, your interest. There is a question. You're going to have unlimited time to prepare your answer. I strongly recommend don't try to write out your answer and just read from a piece of paper. We really want to get a sense of you and your personality. That always comes off better on camera. It doesn't come off really well if you're just reading from a piece of paper. Current events, geography, identifying public figures. Current events factors heavily. It's weighted heavily in the test. So that's a very important part of the test. Grammar, AP style, SEO headlines, digital media, business reporting, and data journalism. Each of these sections are scored separately. So we'll be able to see, how did you do on AP style? How did you do on grammar? So it is completely okay if you bomb the data, but let's say you're interested in copy editing and the editing program. If you ace the AP style, like you're fine, don't worry about it. And regardless, you could fail or not fail, but like you could do really bad on the test and still be in our program. The test is not the only thing we look at. We look at your whole application and we ask for a lot of materials. So the test is just one component of our overall assessment. So I'm just going to dive in a couple of the tips for preparing for the test. First, Google the top stories of the year. And we're talking January to August. We finalize our test probably by the last week in August. So everything happening right now, the hurricane, anything happening right now is not going to be on it. But you want to go back and look at major Supreme Court decisions, anything in politics, government, what else? Sports. Who won the Super Bowl or the World Series? Think of major sporting events, pop culture, anything big that happened this year, the Oscars, the Grammys. We might pull from any of those things when we talk about top stories of the year. There's an election. There was the Olympics. You can think of some of these major events that happen. Refresh your knowledge of geography, especially if you're from one coast or another. Maybe you live in the middle. Maybe there's certain areas that are a little fuzzy, hazy to you in recollection. We do ask 5 current events questions where you're going to have to be able to identify on a map which state they happened in. So you might want to do some refreshing of your geography. Look at our previous tests. So we're going to go through the HireVue platform. I have on our website, you can download Word version or PDFs of our test, the questions, and go through, download the blank one, and then take the previous, and then you can download the answer key. This is really helpful, especially for the AP style and grammar questions, because those don't really change that much over the years. And you have 10 years worth of tests in AP style and grammar that you could go and just refresh your memory and see the types of questions that we're asking. Current events quizzes. I know the New York Times does one. I definitely maybe drew inspiration from it to get some ideas from some current events questions. So definitely take a look at the New York Times. So for the AP grammar and SEO, I always say numbers, numbers, numbers. You want to know dates, ages, times, measurements, money, currency. Think of all the different rules for the different types of ways numbers can be written. Think of acronyms and titles. What are the rules, AP style rules for those things? Cities and states. There are rules for when you write out the full state, when you abbreviate, things like that. So just some of these really common AP style things, it would be helpful for you to refresh your memory. For SEO and headlines, look up best practices for an SEO headline. There's some very key rules for how to write a headline. If you know those rules, you'll be fine on the SEO questions. Grammar, again, looking at previous tests, it's a lot of like word usage, commonly mistaken words that people mix up a lot of times, subject verb agreement, things like that. For the digital test or the digital section, the interns will be working with video, photography, social media, and other digital tools. So we're testing your digital literacy, working on the web and social media. These are all previous questions from previous tests, which of the following is not a digital format for visuals or audio? So we might say, what is an MP4? And do you know what an MP4 is? Or do you know what an MP3 is? Do you know what a JPEG is? Or a TIFF or a GIF or, all these different things. So knowing the different file extensions, knowing different terms in journalism for either a content management system or what is it to retweet something or repost or reshare on a certain platform? We might be asking you like for your digital literacy and digital knowledge. What are the common indicators or factors that for audience engagement when people are reviewing audience engagement? There's some key statistics and numbers that people are looking at. So what are those? We oftentimes will take some sort of acronym or shortened, what is a URL? What is SEO? I mean, I think on a previous test, we had what does SEO stand for? I think last year's test, we asked about what does IP stand for? So you might be these common acronyms that we might ask you, what does it mean? For business reporting, think of key concepts or major news in business and the economy. This could include jobs, the real estate market, currency. What are the big stories? There's some major big words. Who are the federal government agents, or what are the federal government agencies that regulate business? What are their purposes? Who are the heads of those entities? Those are all the type of things we might ask. Again, I would look at previous tests, and that will give you a general sense of the type of questions that we ask. Data journalism. Data is a little bit of a hodgepodge of everything because there we're asking maybe about calculating percentage change, mean, median, mode. We might ask about some basic Python or SQL or Excel commands to test your knowledge of those. We might ask about open government laws, the Freedom of Information Act. So a little bit of everything. We might ask a question about charts and graphs and when to use what type of graph. So it's a little bit of everything in data. So this is a snapshot of our test page. It's dowjonesnewsfund.org/test, and you can download a blank and an answer key. We have tests going back 10 years, so there's lots of opportunity to practice before. And so that's just my help with slides. The best thing I can do for you, though, now is to go into HireVue and let you actually see last year's test. And this is going to be, oops. Okay, I'm going to turn off my camera. And we're going to go into, here we go. So you're going to get an email. Oops, I got lots of emails here. Okay, HireVue, qualifying test. Can you guys all see my, my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you're going to get this email from HireVue. I have to manually send this. It's not automated. So when you apply online and fill out the Google form, I have like the next day, or if you apply on the weekend, that Monday morning, I'm going to log in. I'll export a list of everyone who applied, and then I'll send them the link via HireVue. And so you'll get an email like this that says this. It says, please take this and within 72 hours. The good news is you don't actually have to take it within 72 hours right now. So if you apply right now, you have until November 18th to take the test. The link does not expire. It is good. But after November 18th, your application will be thrown out if you don't take the test. So that's why we say take it within 72 hours. We don't want you to forget about it. I will send reminders frequently, as we go, we'll start sending reminders to take it if you haven't already. But yeah, you have to take the test. So really simply, you just click on take the test. All right. So when you take it, you have to be at a computer with a front-facing camera and microphone. So if you were there, this just tells you what's going to be on it. 1 video, 63 multiple choice and 3 multiple choice. Oops, I gotta move this bar around. Oops. Hold on, let's try this again. All right, I agree.
Hi, my name
Okay.
is Heather.
Oh, that was just a video letting people know that there is a recorded, oh, there you see me now. That video I just record telling people, hey, there's an info session and test prep that I record if you want to go watch it before you take the test. So you guys are watching it now. But so here, if you want, you can try a practice question. If you want to first try and make sure that your video and audio is working properly. We're going to continue without practicing, but there is that option. So the first question is the video question. This is our favorite. We love it. So this was last year's question. What do you view as your best quality in terms of a journalism career? You could see there's no prep time limit. So you could gather your thoughts. What do you want to say? And then when you're ready, just hit start recording. So once you start recording, you only get to record it once. There's no redos. So you have 3 minutes to respond to the question. There's no, this is really where we want to see your authentic self, see your interest in journalism, hear what you have to say, consider this like your interview. Pretend you're talking to me when you do this. Don't get nervous. It's okay. We really want to see your authentic self and have a genuine answer from you. Don't feel like you have to fill the full 3 minutes. You don't. You just say what you want to say. And then when you're done answering, you just hit done answering. And that's it. And so now we go into section 1. With each question, you're going to have a certain time moment. In this first section with current events, it's mostly 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds if it's really long text that you need to read. This is the fun part where there's gonna be audience participation. You guys, I encourage you to shout out the answers as we go through this. I can't see who you are, so no judgment if you get it wrong. I'm not gonna know. Don't be scared or shy. So we're just gonna go through this first section, which is current events, geography, and public figures. And this is last year's test. So it might, I will forgive you. It could be hazy, your memory from last year. I know it could be really hard to recall stuff from last year, but we're going to do our best. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by how much you know. So let's begin. Anyone want to shout? Sorry, say that again.
Atlantic.
That's correct. So you have to hit the answer and you have to hit done answering before this response time hits 0. So hit done answering. So we got a point. So in between each question is this pause screen right now that says next question. This screen, there's no time limit. If you want to get up, get a glass of water, go to the bathroom, you are fine. There's no time limit. So when you're ready for the next question, you go. Let's go to the next question.
Russia.
Correct. Very good. Okay. So Russia and done answering. And there you go. Pause screen again. Now, let's say you're in the middle of the test and your internet goes out. Oh my God, you're freaking out, right? Oh my God, you accidentally closed out of it. Something happened. Your computer died. Your internet went out. It's okay. The test link does not expire. And anytime that happens, go to take the test and it's going to bring you right back to where you left off in the test. Okay. Oops, we're going to skip over that. So questions answered 2 out of 20. We're now going to go to the next one. Keep this in mind. Each of these questions are JPEG images, so people can't copy and paste the questions and try to cheat. So if you are on a bad Wi-Fi or internet signal and those images, those JPEG images are taking a very long time to load, that really cuts your time and able to respond. So I highly recommend stopping the test if you are finding that if the image isn't loading quickly and you are given like 5 seconds to answer the question, that might be a sign, you know what, let me stop and wait till I get a better internet signal where these images are loading faster so I can get the full 30 seconds to answer the question. So, because I have seen it, like people emailing me being like, these images are taking too long to load and I'm unable to answer the question. Just stop and wait till you have a better signal. But let's continue.
Bud Light.
Yes, correct. So we're just going to go through these now.
Clarence Thomas.
That's correct. So you have to hit done answering to get credit for the point. Just want to make sure.
Wildfires in Canada.
Wildfires in Canada, yes. So you guys have a good memory.
Was it 87 million?
No. Anyone else want to take a guess?
1.2 billion.
No. 787,000. Let's see. I got it right on the minute.
Limits the amount the government can borrow.
Correct. First answer.
Harvard was one of them, I think.
Correct.
Is
Yep.
Berkeley the other one?
No.
Princeton.
No.
University of North Carolina.
North Carolina.
University of North Carolina. Correct. Yes. So yeah, always go and look at the major Supreme Court decisions of the year. We always throw something in there from the Supreme Court.
China.
Correct. We usually ask maybe one or two international relations related questions, like other countries.
Television and film.
Correct. Okay, so the next questions are going to be identifying public figures who are in the news from the year. So we give you sort of a current events question, ask you to identify the person.
Patrick Mahomes.
Correct.
Diana Ross or Tina Turner.
Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Megan Rapinoe.
Megan
Rapinoe.
Yeah. Megan.
Michelle Yeoh.
Correct.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Correct. So you can see we picked pull from politics, sports, pop culture, a little mix of everything. Now, everyone's favorite part of the test, geography. 5 questions testing your knowledge of states. So you get a little bit. Oh, yeah, say it.
34, is that?
Correct.
South-
South Carolina. Yep. So you'll see you have about a minute. So you have a little bit longer. So you can first figure out the answer to the current event question and then make sure you find it on a map where it is. But yeah, 34, South Carolina.
Well,
33? Oh,
Huh? Which one?
oh, I said 33, but I don't know.
No, it is
said
8
12.
months. It's Montana was the first state to ban TikTok last year. It was a year ago. And I think it's more have probably done it too.
33.
Florida, so yeah.
Yep, this was Florida. 33.
$50.
Yes, Hawaii. And every once in a while, we might ask international. We don't do it every year, but sometimes we might ask if there's like something really major going on in the world internationally. We might ask, so where's Ukraine or Russia?
One in 6.
Yeah. No, so the answer for this is 7. So yeah, it's 7. This is where the Russia invaded Ukraine. Oh, I didn't hit the time, so I didn't get a point for that. I didn't hit answer. So that ends section 1. That was last year's current events question. So now we're going to move into grammar.
Is.
Correct.
Which.
No, it's that. So if you go online, grammar, like some grammar website, I pull up some of our old tests and just try to like refresh yourself on some of the rules for some of these words because we commonly test you on some of these words.
Were.
Were is correct. Yep.
People.
People. Yes.
Effect.
Correct.
Who?
Whom?
Is.
My answer key says it's are.
Yeah.
Whirlwind.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She.
Yes.
IR. There.
The middle one, right? EIR?
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct. Okay, so that ended the grammar section. Now we're going to go into AP style.
Lowercase.
No, uppercase. For this one, I think because it's New York City, it's the proper name of the New York City Fire Department. Yeah, and here's a numbers one.
MPH.
Correct.
False.
Correct.
Gov.
That is correct. Now, let's say you did stop or exit out of the test in the middle of this question, you would probably lose the points to it. So just keep that in mind. If you did need to like take a pause during the test, I mean, it's not gonna like kill you if you didn't answer one question. But when I showed you before that you could exit out of the test, you should try to exit out during on this pause page if you can.
The first one.
Yes.
Low-
The capital letters, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The middle one.
The first one. All capital.
I think the last one.
It's the last one. Good job. That was a recent change within the last, I think, 5 years. It used to be, oh God, I forget what it used to be. Maybe GA, the first one, but it is Georgia, the whole word spelled out now. Yeah. And you got to look because certain cities don't even require the state. So refresh your rules on cities and states and when they say the state, when they don't. And it's AP style because I know like some other styles have different rules.
$10 to $12 million.
First one.
No, it's the second one. Okay, well, the first one would be basically $10 to 12 million, but we're talking 10 million to 12 million. I don't think the company revenue would be very big if it was $10.
The first one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Is it the first one?
Yes, it is. So we might give you like 3 sentences and you have to tell us which one is the right one.
The
So-
last one. The first one.
It's the first one. Yes. So again, numbers. Just think of all different ways numbers can be written and refresh some of your rules. Okay. Now we're moving into SEO headlines. So we're going to start for the first one. And you can see this question, you have 2 minutes. So you have a lot of time to like read and try to figure out what we're trying to figure out.
A.
Yes, that is correct. So the chart here is telling you most people will search Supreme Court. They don't search SCOTUS. So that the first indicator is, okay, we should get Supreme Court in our headline. So then looking at the headlines that have Supreme Court in it, for SEO, you know, there's a limit, there's a recommended size for how long an SEO headline should be. And so hopefully A is the one you're drawn to, knowing those two key pieces of information.
B.
Yes. Yeah, print we're a little limited on the space, but digital, you know, your headlines can have no limit.
A.
No.
C.
C is correct. Yeah. So yeah, because you want print, you want on the shorter side, but for SEO, you also want the keyword. So the keyword here is Tucker Carlson. So here again, this is testing. So knowing ahead of time, sort of the principles behind a good SEO headline.
C.
C is one of them, yes. So there are 3.
B.
B is correct.
F.
F, yes, correct. So those are the 3. Okay, now we're going to digital media.
E and G.
PNG, that is correct. We will throw in from time to time some meme questions if there's anything that's been very viral or trending over the summer. So think about anything that was really big this summer when it comes to social media memes or trends.
Biden.
Biden.
Trump.
Yes. So what is not considered an alternative to X?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Audition.
Correct.
The information processor.
No.
Internet protocol.
Correct. Yes. All right. Measurements for audience engagement. What do we not? What is not a measure of audience engagement?
Freshness.
Freshness. That is the correct answer. All right, that was it. Those are all the so yeah, I think this year we have like 8 questions for each section. I think we just did 8 for each one. So now we're going to move on to the business. So current events in business, key topics in business, key government agencies or leaders of those agencies will be the type of questions we ask in business.
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
Yep.
True.
That's correct.
The first one.
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Startups.
Startups.
Yep.
The first one.
That's correct.
$10 million.
That's correct.
Janet Yellen.
Yep. These are always tricky because, we sometimes have to do these and then someone retires or gets fired or, so sometimes it can be tricky when we ask these questions of who is the head, but sometimes we do it. Okay.
An opinion.
Yeah, it is opinion. Okay, that was it. You guys aced the business reporting section. See, it's not that scary. So now we're going into the final piece of the test, the data journalism section. And if I didn't say this already, or no, I did, don't feel like you got to be copying all these questions down. You can go and download a PDF of all these questions, both a blank version and the PDF of the answer key.
Freedom of
The
Information.
third.
Oh yeah.
Freedom of Information Act, yes.
Bar graph.
No?
A line graph.
A line graph.
Yeah, line graph.
C.
Oh.
No?
A.
A is correct, yes.
Get data.
Correct. We try to do math easy so you don't need a calculator or anything.
400.
400 is the correct answer, yes.
Python.
Correct. All right.
Web scraping.
Correct. Yes.
Open source.
Correct. And that's it. You're done the test. Thank you. So you can hit done when you are done. This survey that pops up, this is a HireVue survey. We do not see the results of this, so you can just click out of this and ignore that survey from HireVue. So yeah, that is the test. Hopefully seeing the platform, how HireVue operates will take the nervousness away. And if I can emphasize that, you know, we each section, we get your separate score. So it's okay if you don't do well in one section versus another. I am going to stop share. And I can go put back on my share. I can open up for questions now. So I will do some questions with the recording still going, and then I'll stop the recording if anyone wants to ask questions without the recorder. But anyone want to ask any initial questions right now?
When does the application close?
Application closes November 14th, and on November 15th, that will be the last batch of test emails I will send out from HireVue, and everyone will have until November 18th to take the test. If you apply right now, you will have until November 18th to take the test, even though the email says take this within 72 hours. We are not strict about that right now, but for everyone who waits to the last day to apply, which for some reason is a lot of people, everyone always waits to the absolute deadline. You will only have 3 days to take the test.
Do you guys look at recommendation letters?
No, some people put them, you know, if you have them, we ask on the application for references. So we want either their email or phone number so we can contact them, but we don't ask for letters. And I know some people have them, and that's fine if you want to include them, but it's not a requirement. We prefer to talk to the person or to contact them and ask them our own question about your performance. The references were typically, they should be people who could speak to your work ethic, how you work as a team, do you meet deadlines, you know, do you act professionally? Those are the type of things we want to know from your references.
How selective is it? How many people do you usually take in?
Yeah, no, we are a competitive program. Last year we had over 1,000 applicants for 87 internships. So we are competitive. Typically, you know, we're looking for students who are passionate about journalism, have a good idea that, you know, that you want to go into journalism, have previous experience either in student media or previous internship. Those are usually the students who are stronger in the applicant pool.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. So in terms of submitting work samples, I know it says about 3 to 5. Does it matter if you have more or less?
No, I mean, they should demonstrate your work. I would say the best examples are so single byline stories that you've published either in media or in your student newspaper. They should not be classroom assignments. They shouldn't be essays you wrote for a class. I would steer clear of opinion pieces if you can. We really like to see like news articles you've written for publication. That's for any type of reporting role. If you're more interested in like digital media, audience engagement, it might be more social media posts you've done, maybe things you've produced on Canva, Twitter threads, you know, where you've live tweeted an event. For editing, it might be headlines you've written or design layout of a newspaper. Maybe you do the design of your student newspaper. For data journalism, it might be graphics, video, you know, actual, you know, things you've designed using, let me think, data visualizations. It could be stories you've written using data, maybe a program you've done or a project you've done using Python or R. Maybe you have a GitHub portfolio. So it really varies depending on which programs you're interested in. So, but here's a question. If I'm interested in being a business reporter, how much of the business section of the test is a factor in the decision? Oops, sorry. Did I close out? Let me see. So it's not super, I mean, the test is a starting point. We definitely will first start with the people who perform the best on the business section, but it's not where we stop. You know, we will go and look at people who didn't do as strong on the business section. I would say current events is really important. That factors heavily into everyone's score. So just we want people who are news consumers who are following the news. That is important for all of our programs because you are going to newsrooms. You are, you know, that speaks to your news judgment and your just ability to know what's going on in the world and especially and what's going on in the country right now. Business, you don't have to have as strong of a language. Business, you would have to, I think, demonstrate strong reporting skills. So the clips are very important for the business reporting program. Being able to demonstrate, you know how to go cover an event, go cover a topic or issue, you know how to get quotes, pick up the phone, you know how to file a story on deadline. Those are the things we're looking for reporting for any of our reporters. When news anchors fall under the category of reporters, possibly, I don't know. For news anchors, are you know, if you're submitting a clip of you anchoring a story, you can do a cover sheet with your work samples. You could say, I do all the research and reporting and I anchor it and I deliver, you know, I'm writing the script that I'm delivering in this anchoring report. So that would be important to know that you've written the script as an anchor, that you're doing the reporting that goes along with it. You're not just reading someone else's words.
Do you guys accept Adobe files?
No, well, Adobe PDF, yes. But if it's like a podcast that you produced or a video or photography, like a Photoshop file, no. Because we have so many applicants, we've limited it only to, I think, Word and PDF documents that you can attach. I highly recommend doing PDFs, just especially because sometimes people do things in Word or some other older version. And then when I open it, all the formatting is wonky. So I really like PDFs because it will lock in your formatting so we can see it as you intend us to see it. So I highly recommend PDFs. We can't do podcasts or videos because those files are just so large. So just do like a Word document and link, like host it somewhere else. So if it's like a podcast, maybe you could host on SoundCloud. If it's a video, give us a link to like on YouTube where we could watch the video. And then you could do like a little one pager saying, here's a video I edited. Here's a video I did all the research and reporting, whatever you want to tell us about your role in that video or whatever your role was in the podcast. You know, I did all the editing for it. I did all the research. I did all the reporting. It's my voice on the podcast. You know, explain to us why you're submitting this piece and what your role was with it. Stories are a little bit more self-evident, right? Like if you've written a story, it's easy. If it's something you're a co-byline on, if there's more than one person, you know, tell us what your role was in writing that story. Like I did most of the research and reporting. You know, we worked equally, you know, just explain to us why you're including certain clips. So Does that
Okay.
answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you. And also, are there any time accommodations for the test?
If you require special assistance, you can require time. I would say only if you are approved for that at college to do that. We can see that you've requested the accommodations, which basically just removes all time limits on the questions, but only do that if you have that permission to do so at school.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Daniela?
Hi, I was just wondering for in terms of work samples for the audience engagement and digital media, would you prefer like just like a couple of links or like let's say we have a portfolio with all of our work, what's the preference?
I would say you could definitely include your portfolio, like, but maybe if you want to curate a couple of your top ones, be like, here's a post I did that went viral or it got X many follower or it got X many likes, or, you know, I'm really proud of this. I used Canva, I used Photoshop, you know, whatever you want to do. I think highlighting a couple key ones would be good. and then saying, and here's a link to my full portfolio. Just, we want you to curate for us what you think is really good and stands out. And then, yeah, send us to your full portfolio. It helps see your design aesthetic, the full potential that you have. Like, that's definitely okay. And it's okay if someone doesn't have a portfolio too. I just want to, but we will take it if you have it.
Thank you.
Could you submit like photography you've done in the past in the form of a PDF?
Yeah, so you would put it into like a Word document and then PDF it. Yeah, the photos.
And then what if like the rest of your application stands out, but the work that you have to show isn't, because I'm in my sophomore year of college, so I've had opportunities to get involved in media, but they're not really highlighting portfolio stuff until next year.
Just try to do what you can. You have a month before the application deadline. Try to get in some work into the student newspaper if you can. That's why we don't have as many sophomores in the program, because there is usually that hurdle, right? You don't have as much experience to show for it, but do your best, go through the application process, see what you can do to highlight your work, and you never know, we still might call you. So definitely try and see what you could do. I always tell people too, our application deadline is November 14th. You might publish something in January that you're really proud of. You can always email me and say, hey, Heather, can you add this to my application? This just came out. And I want to add it. So if you've watched our info session, I did go over that. Our selection process is very long. We start in December, but we place interns as late as April. We even had someone we placed in May this year. So, you can always send me updates to add to your application package.
When do you usually find out if you got the internship?
It's on a rolling basis. So you know what, let me pause right now. Let me just ask for any test questions and then I'll stop the recording. So does anyone have questions on the test right now? Okay, no.